On January 3rd, 2022, Monica Franquez, the acting business license supervisor at Rev and Tax, received an email from Marine San Nicolas, the military housing referral assistant, questioning the validity of 2 business licenses received by the military housing office in connection with the lease agreement submitted by a military member seeking off-base housing. With some background information on this, a few years back, the military amended its off-base housing policy to include the submission of a current and valid business license by the respective landlord for any property being rented by a military member. The military will not approve any lease without a current or valid business license. And the process for obtaining a business license for a typical residential property includes obtaining clearances from Land Management, Revenue and Tax, DPW, the Guam Fire Department, and Guam Real Property Division. And then business licenses are good for 1 year and they need to be updated annually. So with respect to the first business license, and all of you have a copy of it, this is a license for a 1-unit house rental, and it is in the name of James Strickland for a property identified as 335B Darrow Road in Ordot. A photocopy of the business license was provided by Ms. San Nicolas of the Military Housing Office. Upon review by Ms. Franquez, it was determined that the license had been altered with respect to the property owner's name, the legal description of the property, and the physical address of the property. And we did confirm that the property is owned by Mr. Strickland. Now, while the business license provided to Ms. Franquez was a photocopy, it was evident there have been alterations made based on the use of different fonts and the appearance of whiteout in the name, legal description, and physical address lines. In addition to this, we've determined through business licensing that the GRT number and the serial number on the license belong to someone else. Efforts to obtain a copy of the lease agreement submitted on this property from the military office was unsuccessful. However, the email from Ms. San Nicolas references the lease indicating Mr. Strickland as both the owner and the agent, and was submitted in addition to the altered business license. The second business license was an apartment.
Evan is watching.
Pardon me? Hello?
No, it's okay.
Okay. The second business license was an apartment rental 4-unit license in the name of Tropic Life Investments, LLC. Once again, Ms. Franquez indicated that the initial review of the license indicated alteration, once again using different fonts, in addition to determining that Tropic Life Investments, LLC is not registered with the Business Licensing Division, that the GRT account number belongs to someone other than Mr. Strickland or Tropic Life Investments, LLC, and that the serial number on the license belongs to another business licensee. Subsequent to this altered license, receiving the license from military housing, Mr. Strickland did approach business licensing on January 4th, 2022 to apply for a business license for Tropical Life Investments, LLC. Business licensee has taken no action on this application to date. Research online indicates that Tropical Life Investments, LLC is a Florida LLC formed by Mr. and Mrs. James Strickland on 12/31/2019. The LLC engages in the buying and selling of properties across the United States, with primary markets being Florida, Georgia, and Indiana. Ms. Franquez responded to the military housing office indicating that they should not accept the business licenses, and also provided copies of the business licenses to the Criminal Investigation Division of Revenue and Tax for their review as well. As of this meeting, no action has been taken by CID. So that's where we stand right now in terms of what we have received and what we've looked at. So I would like to open it up to further discussion from the members of the commission.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, Claire.
So in reviewing the business license, we looked at the Guam MLS and we found a closed listing dated January 12th, 2022 for the property identified on the license. Now, the property was owned by Mr. Strickland, who sold it for $1,050,000 based on what was reported on the MLS. The property was sold as an income producing property comprised of a fourplex. At the time of the sale, he indicated that the property was fully leased out, assumingly based on the rental amounts. So the first question is, does the military know that these 4 leases on this property were approved based on the altered document? And then secondly, using the altered business license, was there an intention of paying GRTs?
Okay, thank you, Claire. Those are, you raised 2 interesting questions on that in terms of the business license and relating it to an existing property that just recently sold. Does anyone else have any comments on this? Okay, so based on that, does anyone else have any questions on this? Richard? No?
Just wondering, is based on the evidence and everything, it seems that on Title 21, Section 104-302, A and I, making substantial misrepresentation, any other conduct, whether same or different character, and specify in the section which constitutes fraud or dishonest dealing. And also on Section 104-303, F and G, it appears that he acted or conducted himself in a manner which would have warranted the denial of his application for a real estate license, or demonstrated negligence or incompetence in performing any act for which he is required to hold a license. I don't know, I'm not an attorney, but it appears, question for Mars is there any basis here for possibly temporary suspending his license until possible hearing?
Yeah, to answer that question, to me, I agree that it looks like, at least the evidence that we've been shown so far, looks like it may implicate those sections identified by Mr. Gutierrez. And sorry, correct me, with respect to 104-302, did you mention, which sections did you mention?
Section A and Section I.
Okay. I think maybe B also looks like these facts may be indicative of that violation of that section 2, making any false promises of a character likely to influence, persuade, or induce. We cannot, from my understanding of our statute, immediately suspend or revoke a license without at least having a hearing first and affording due process. We can, however, vote on a motion to investigate and then bring forth the procedures required under the Administrative Adjudication Act to hold a hearing. We need to have an accusation filed, a notice of hearing filed, and then hold a hearing to take in evidence, to answer questions like the question raised by Claire, by Ms. Delgado. But I think based on what we've seen, I feel comfortable making a motion to do that, to have the commissioner move forward with an accusation, a notice of hearing, to hold a hearing on whether or not these actions, as at least they've been shown to us, should be investigated and then brought to hearing for violations of the sections that we've identified, Mr. Gutierrez and myself. Frank?
Okay.
May I make a motion to exactly do what Mars has recommended we do? That we recommend this to the real estate commissioner to do the investigation and do all the hearing and whatever is necessary that follows. So I'm making that motion to proceed with what Mars recommended.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any further discussion? Okay, All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.